So the question is, what do you think about Congress? And another way to look at it is, are they representing your interests?
Here's my issue. What I've seen is that in my time, there seemed to be an evolution taking place. There was a time when your partisan label didn't come before the good of the country. And now where I see is that there's 24/7 campaigning. Every issue is a political issue, and you take a position based upon your label, regardless of the people that you represent, or regardless from the part of the country that you're from. So what I'm seeing is, what's wrong with Congress? Partisanship. That's a big part. You can take it right down to the money, but in the end, the money is supporting partisanship.
Good evening. My name is Mike Hill McCullough, and prior to our President Obama, coming to office, surely we noticed what our president did, President Bush. He ran this country up, and we saw a major shift in between the way this country is being run, especially on the money side. So we went from being in a surplus to a deficit, and we didn't see these Tea Party groups nowhere until President Obama came into office. So I'm not afraid to say it's because he's black. And I believe that we thought that we had made major strides in terms of race relations in this country. However, we see that to be untrue, because we can be an athlete, but we can't run the country. That says something about this country, I believe. Another thing, we saw the lines, the redistricting, and they call it gerrymandering, if I'm saying it properly, correctly. That's a big deal, and I'm not sure, and that's why voting is so important. That's why voting is important. That's why you stay in tune to the media. That's why you read. All those things are important, because if you were conscious of these things taking place, maybe you will be more active. Another point, Citizens United, 2008. If you don't know what it is, that refers to the amount of money that any individual can give to a particular campaign. And so a man that makes $1 billion can give how much money he desires. So all these are critical elements, I believe, that has hurt Congress and has caused it to become so polarized. And that's why no one can get anything done. Thank you.
What I think the problem with Congress is, my name is George Coleman. I'm 20-year member of the military. I've been in 7, 8 countries. I've been fought in war. There's no other place I want to be besides the United States. Okay? This country has made progress. There's nothing to be ashamed or racial from where I grew up. It's nothing to be ashamed of. But if they get back to the Constitution and drop all these traditions, there's the Hastings rule, okay, that was responsible for the government. And when you get away from majority rules, basically, okay, when you get away from one senator can put a hold, there's nowhere in the Constitution that says one senator can put a hold on any kind of nomination. When you get away from constitutional principles and you get into traditions, okay, if it's a simple majority rule, good policy is passed. The late Senator Moynihan said when his policy passed 70-30, then you don't have the dysfunction that you have with Obamacare. That's because you have one side choose not to participate in the policy, and then you try to have them usurp a policy by other than traditional methods. Okay, so if we can get back to majority rule, where we can come to a consensus that way, regardless of your race or your ideology or your beliefs, if you got something to play, we make a compromise. You get everybody as much as possible, because that'll eliminate these extremist people on the left, on the right, because most people, whether they black, they white, they gay, whatever they are, we have same common interests in mind. We want to live. We want to have law and order. We want to be able to have a decent job and raise children, whatever you decide to do. So that's a common goal for everyone. So when you get away from traditional, when will they get back to? I hear people talking about the Constitution. They need, the ones in office need to have a basic understanding of the Constitution before they get elected. Okay, that's one thing they need to do, is have a basic understanding of what the Constitution actually says, and that's part of the government. You have a lot of people that's ignorant. I don't know what to put it. They're ignorant of what the laws say, and you can't uphold something that you don't understand yourself. So if they get back to the basic Constitution, for the majority rules, okay, well, they like it or not, That way you put some kind of consensus that you can get something actually done. And that's my opinion.
Thank
Thank
you. Gina wanted to add something?
Yeah, it's probably, it relates to what you're saying. So I would say that today in U.S. ideology does not mean what it used to be in the past. And I like to see the half full part of the glass. So I would say that Congress does good things, not only bad things. It's just the media advertise for the bad things. I think what's going on right now is a change in generations within the political parties, because I believe you also have congressmen, congresswomen who represent their elected, and you also have those who just want to express their own opinions because they have certain principles. And I think it's just a matter, it's probably a fight among generations right now, so until we get rid of this, it's going to take some work.
Yeah, that
Part of the apathy, and dealing with the apathy, when we look at the pattern, this is a non-presidential year. And in that this is a non-presidential year, the apathy gives the minority of the population who votes as a majority an opportunity to control government for the next 2-4 years. And my contention in that is that part of this is been fed to us by the media. The media plays a very big part in whether we are interested or apathetic or not. The media, for instance, a lot of us is turned off by the negativity. And when we deal with the media, that's all we hear. Very rarely do we hear the good that government's doing for us. The message that we often hear is how government's suppressing us or taking away our rights or things like that. I think the media has a lot to do with that.